Marketing for Twitter Canada, and I am thrilled to welcome you in partnership with TIFF to our event, Take Up Space, a conversation with the cast of The Woman King. So today, the meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island. I would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit River. We are so very excited to have all of you here for our first in-person event since the pandemic. And even more excited to be here with our amazing partner, TIFF. So people come to Twitter to talk about the things that they care about and then share it with the rest of the world. And during TIFF, they love to talk about the films that they've been watching and, of course, how the city comes alive during the festival. The conversations on Twitter are powered by very passionate and diverse voices you will hear from today and certainly in the film The Woman King, which will be in theaters September 16th. So with that, I would like to introduce and welcome to the stage the CEO of TIFF, Cameron Bailey.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, everybody. Thank you. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. Thank you so much for coming. We're very excited to do this very special Twitter conversation, and especially here at the Mademoiselle Raw Bar and Grill. Beautiful space. I love what they've done with it, and you may know what it used to be. So I love what they've done with it. Listen, this is our first fully in-person festival in 3 years. We haven't done this at this scale since 2019. Welcome back. Thank you all for being here. We're very excited that you're all here. Just, put the rest of your life on hold and just do this, right? Until September 18th. All right. Needle drop, all right. So I'm very glad you're all here, and one of the things we're most excited about is the world premiere of The Woman King. You have seen the trailer, you've seen Viola and her whole cast tearing shit up, and it's unbelievable. We're thrilled that they're here, we're thrilled that the premiere is coming tonight, and this is a great way to kick it off. Has anybody looked at their Twitter profile lately? I did. I joined Twitter in August of 2009. Right? Like, Twitter's been around for a minute, and why are we still on Twitter? Because that's where the conversation is happening, and this is, I think, going to be one of the most exciting conversations. We can't wait to get this out to everybody around the world on Twitter, and we're very happy to be longtime partners with Twitter as well. They've supported us, and we've hoped to provide some exciting moments for everybody on Twitter as well. So thank you to Twitter for doing this, and just a reminder that there is a hashtag for this, the Take Up Space conversation, hashtag Take Up Space. World premiere again is tonight at Roy Thompson Hall. I don't know if there's any tickets available, but we always have a rush line. So if you don't already have tickets to see the movie after this conversation, get on the rush line and you may just get in. And now I'm very pleased, and I want to ask you to join me in welcoming the entire team led by the moderator, who is Twitter's Global Director of Culture and Community, Goddess Rivera, and the incredible cast of The Woman King, Viola Davis, Thuso Mbedu, Lashana Lynch, Sheila Atim, and John Boyega. Enjoy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for them dope tunes, DJ Aisha Irene. She's amazing. What's up, everybody? Oh, this crowd is live, right? Yeah, this crowd is live. Again, thank you again, Cameron, for introducing us. Thank you, Jen. I'm Goddess Rivera, Global Director of Culture and Community at Twitter. So excited to have the amazing cast of this amazing movie, The Woman King, with us here on stage today. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, why it was important for us to have this conversation. I actually lead the culture and community team at Twitter, and it is the job of our team to make sure that we listen to, recognize, support, and amplify historically marginalized communities that are on Twitter every day. Those are the voices that make the platform so rich, so unique. And the conversations that a film like this has brought to the platform are so important. So we want to make sure that we dig into that today. And it's important that we have that. So we're talking about taking up space. Why taking up space is important. Again, you know, as Cameron mentioned, Twitter is a place where people who can go to be heard, people who have often been silenced. And so I want you guys to take a second before we get started, just quickly tweet why you're excited to see The Woman King and why you're excited to see this amazing cast take up space on screen and beyond and tell this story. You know, we had to get a tweet in there, y'all. So, okay. So, because we're getting started with that, and we're already talking about this, I want to get into the first question. That sound good? Sounds great? Okay. All right, so, you know, when we talk about taking up space, the act of that is very powerful, and the decision to do that. So, how do you all think that this film actually embodies that concept of taking up space, of being seen, being heard, and why is that important in the context of the entire film?
Viola?
It is important within the context of the film, but it's important in the context of this world. Because there is no way that change and progress can happen if you don't take risks. Listen, one of my favorite sayings is what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls the butterfly. And I think that as Black people, and especially as Black women, we've been given insurmountable odds. Our voices have been stifled, we haven't been seen, we've been invisible for so long. And I always say, there was a reporter that interviewed me the other day. He was a white man, very, very nice. And he said, you know, I love the film, and I know I'm not the audience. And he kept trying to talk. And I had to say, I'm going to stop you right there. You are the audience, because every time we do a movie, we have to appeal to you. We have to water down our voices. We have to water down our images in order to fit whatever your perception, to ease your fears, to do all of that. And when you don't step into the room and you don't take risks and you sort of just cave under the weight of the status quo, then it continues. So it's important, it was important for this film to be ours. It's important for there not to be a white savior. It's important for it to be led by all Black females who are dark skinned.
Come on. Come on.
It really is.
Tell it.
It's time enough for that, okay? It really is. We are at a pivotal time in our culture where you have to show up and be seen and heard, and you have to take the hit, whatever it is, okay? Because let me tell you something, as an introvert and a shy woman, I don't want to sit through the film tonight. But I have to.
Yes. I feel like we could just end right there. Like she just, I mean, damn, give it up. Those words, that power, right? Like, anyone else want to jump in on that before we move? I know, I feel like.
After that?
Yeah. You're
I'm all
right.
right.
You're right.
No, Sheila, you had something earlier.
Why are you pointing at me?
I genuinely remember you had something for that.
All right, I'll say something. It's incredible to see the impact that just the knowledge of this film being made has had on people, not just myself, but around me. You know, like I've had friends, I've had family, I've had strangers talking about not just how excited they are about the project, but like deeply personal anecdotes about what seeing the poster or seeing the trailer meant for them, the impact that it had on them. People have cried in the middle of the street, just, you know, watching us swinging machetes and spears and you know, and so I think that's why taking up space is important, because you have no idea what the impact is going to mean on a wider scale. And, you know, just to what Viola said, it's about jumping in with both feet, taking those risks and continuing to push, because I really do feel this film is bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us. And that's where the space then expands beyond us, like there's us taking up space on the screen, and hopefully that allows more of us to take up space in other ways, whether it be in our personal lives or within this industry or all around the world. And it's kind of terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. Just like Viola, introverted too, shy, so this is intense, but it's really wonderful to just hear you all cheering and see you nodding and, just turning up. You guys have taken up space by turning up to this venue and packing it out, So, yeah, we need to affirm ourselves in that way, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this project and with these guys taking up this space here on the stage.
I love it. One of the bedrock programs of the culture and community team at Twitter is called Twitter Voices, and that's the program that we use to make sure that we're zeroing in on, again, historically marginalized voices and what matters to them. One of the conversations that we hear about a lot is not just the stories that need to be told, but who is telling them and how we are telling them. And I think it's really important to point out, a film like The Woman King is made by and with and for Black women, right? Think about, right? And black men, absolutely. But for, we love you, John. sorry.
Take the land.
So can we talk a little bit about how, making this film with the director, with Gina, Prince-Bythewood, an amazing force, with all of you, how that, really impacted the storytelling? Because I think you're right. I saw it, I was floored. And, you walk into some of these films sometimes a little nervous. Is it gonna be a trope? Is it gonna be that thing that makes me feel a little yucky inside? And let me tell you, this film, you can tell that this film was made for and by us. So I would love to hear a little bit about the creative process and why that was important and how it came out in the final product. I feel like, okay, Lashana, girl, I gotta go for
I was just looking at Thuso because she was dying to say something, but it's fine. You know what, just linking the previous question and this one, I've been a part of some projects whereby I've been required to play the strong Black woman, and I feel like the filmmakers, the producers, the studio don't actually know what it takes to be that. And in my process in learning more about who I am and what the strong Black woman trope means for the world, I have a responsibility to dismantle that trope through my art. And the directors that I've worked with, and I've worked with some nice ones, they just don't know what they're asking of me. They don't know where the strength comes from. They don't know if it's questioning, if it's trauma, if it's, a dark past. And I've always tried to thread that into my characterization to make these characters more real, more realized. And they've still not understood it, in my opinion. They just see strong. So for this, to work with Gina Prince-Bythewood, a Black woman who you have automatically a shorthand with because she is a Black woman. I don't need to come in and explain myself and say, okay, in this part of the script, because she's a Black woman, I just want to say that she's probably not going to respond in that way. It's already done. It's already there for you. And I feel like in taking up space, I didn't feel like I needed to. I feel like we can all just arrive and feel comfortable and at home and relaxed, knowing that we as Black women and Black people are already taken care of and supported. And that's with all departments as well, having a Black head of hair, a Black head of makeup, a Black costume designer. These are important things. Yes. And to look around and actually see Black crew members when you're going through a hard time dealing with these storylines, to see that they're just looking at you going, yeah, I get it. I get it. Do you want a towel? Do you want some water? Do you want a tea? I'm like, a tea would be good because the trauma that we're dealing with in this moment, I don't know how to do it. So it takes us as a collective to really support and take up space so that we are carrying that through for the rest of our careers. So that when we don't have a Gina, when we don't have a Viola and the rest of the cast, we can use those experiences and say, actually, no, I'm going to stand up for myself here. I'm going to use my autonomy and say, this isn't right. I need it to be this way. And that's not a demand. It's just a request as a Black woman that I need you to take care of me in all my complexities.
I feel like we preaching up here today. Like, we preaching up here. Thank you so much for sharing that. John, anything you want to share? I felt like you had something on your spirit.
No. I'm honestly just listening and taking it in. You said what you were saying. Yeah, no. So honestly, I have nothing to say. Yeah.
I love it. Anyone else? Thuso?
All the men, what's going on, man? We know when to be quiet, eh? Let them lead.
I think I'm just gonna talk about Gina for a little bit because she was our leader in this. You know, she handpicked everyone from the cast to the crew, very careful in how she did it and why she did it. And just to give you a glimpse of who she is, I'll talk about my process with her. It started at the very first audition, where normally you're dealing with just the casting director. Gina was there from the very beginning, you know, guiding, leading, being who she is, and obviously getting what she needs. And then after having gotten the role, I'm new to, you know, the action film world. Part of the audition was me having to go for like a fitness and physical test for them to determine if I could be able to do my own stunts. And so pre-production, I put myself in Muay Thai classes so that, you know, I wouldn't be starting from zero. And Gina joined me. She's that type of director. We would do sessions together because she believes in forming a relationship. And when we started pre-production training with all of us, Gina was with us. She'd be in the gym suffering with us, you know, on top of everything else that she had to do. Cut to now, South Africa, we're shooting, there's craziness, there's all these departments that she has to oversee, dealing with stories and individual people. And I remember I had like just a quiet day on set, like I was going through something. And at the end of the day, I got a text and she said, "Are you all right?" You know, she's that type of person. And this is the first set where I've had someone like that, where I don't have to fight for my space, where I don't feel like I had to over-explain myself, but know that I am safe at every step of the way because of who our leader is. And that filtered down into every other person that we are working with, cast and crew.
That's beautiful. Can we give some up for Gina and that story? That's amazing. And I think too, for anyone, you know, listening, that can be applied to any team you lead, any place you are. You can treat people that way to make sure they feel safe. We look at the type of art that comes out when people can feel that way and feel seen. And you know, to me, it's just elevated times, 1,000. So beautiful process. Thank you for describing that. Okay, so I want to get to, I was taking my notes, I was watching the film, and there was all these beautiful, I think in tweets, we really do think that way, but there were these beautiful lines. One of the lines that stood out, it was by Malik, and he says, of his black mother, he says, "All I knew is that my mother was enslaved. I never dreamed that we were kings and warriors." And I think that line was so powerful to just think about how we are portrayed and how this movie is literally changing that. So I thought about, I would love to know, what are the types of conversations that you hope a movie like, The Woman King triggers on Twitter? What do you want people to talk about? What do you want them to take from this? Because, in that one line, this is changing the way people see who we are, our history, who we are, what we can do from art all the way to history. So I would love to know kind of what you think about when you think about the conversations that will come out of a film like The Woman King.
I want the people to actually experience the collaboration between the black diaspora on this, that there were people, African Americans, black British, South Africans, everyone from all over the globe coming down to South Africa to make this work and to make this special. And there's something about that, trying as much as possible just to dodge the divisive line sometimes, and trying to see how we can collaborate while still coexisting with our differences, right? Because even within our blackness, we do have cultural differences. But this project, for me, especially as somebody coming in and seeing these women train with each other, seeing them support each other, seeing them, check in, is something that I feel like I want it to continue based on just this project alone.
Love it. Give it up. Give it up. Amazing. Just kind of piggybacking off that, your sentiment, John, as well. You know, the dynamic between the women characters in this movie is, I don't think I've ever seen a film like this, and to know that, as you mentioned, there was physical, you know, there was a lot to put into this emotional, you know, energy that you had to put into this role. But I think it's really this sort of the epitome of sisterhood. So I want to know, what was your experience actually playing these strong women characters, and kind of how did you take the sisterhood that you formed while you did this to make sure that we felt that through the film, because it is felt and seen. And so I'd love to just know about the process of how you worked together to ensure that it came through the art. Sheila, you've been quiet.
Thuso, you at this point that you're doing.
Finger. What?
You know, I personally feel like it wasn't really a process of injecting that sisterhood into the film. I think we got that for free, you know. Like Thuso said, trauma bonding. But, you know, we kind of say that as a joke. Like, the training was no joke, you know. It was no joke. And when you're lifting weights and that lactic acid is building and you're looking alongside you and you can see that somebody else's face is screwed up just as much as yours, it really helps. I'm not going to lie. You know, and it's also in the script. It's in the script. It's in the culture that Gina set up for us as a company and as a team, as a production. And I think we all knew that it was something that was deeply important to put to the forefront of our performances, because, you know, we wanted these characters to be complex. We didn't just want them to be, you know, the same archetypes that we're used to seeing. We wanted them to live and breathe and really see each other, because if they could see each other, then the audience would be able to see them. Yeah. So the sisterhood was, you know, integral to the whole thing, but it just came because we knew it needed to be there. We knew it had to be there.
And you know, that's what you do as an artist. That's a part of the job. Right. You have to create a character based on a human being. What drives them? What do they live for? What do they want? Do they have a traumatic memory? Do they have secrets? Who do they love? You build relationships. In a lot of ways, we're having conversations that our white counterparts have all the time, and no one asks them about it. But it's such a novelty for us that we ask these questions about our work that all actors do. And what I want to emphasize, because, listen, my husband and I, our production company, Juvie Productions, is one of the producers on this film. We're the ones who went into the rooms and fought for this project for the last 7 years. Wow. So, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to make it plain in the words of Malcolm X, is there are no words to quantify what that fight is. Yeah. Okay? Everyone thinks about the movie and its inception, and then they see it on the screen. They don't talk about the process in between. If you were a fly on the wall and you could see every time you're walking in that room, you're hustling for your worth. You're fighting for simple stories. You're fighting for the hair, the makeup, you know, what we look like. You know, can you make them prettier? Is it, can we have more lipstick and not dirt? Fighting for all these actors who are, come on, friggin' great. You know, but they don't have the resumes of their white counterparts, so you gotta sell them in a room. You gotta fight for the budget. You gotta fight for a proper budget. And now you sit in the room and you talk about the film, and it's not over yet. Because guess what? If you don't plop down money and see that film in the opening weekend, you're not gonna see us again. When I say you're not going to see us again, I'm not saying you're not going to see me, Thuso, Sheila, Lashana, John again. That's not what I'm saying. You're not going to see black females leading a movie again if you don't support it. So you go on Twitter.
Do it.
You know? No, you go on Twitter and you talk about all the themes and you want to say, okay, I'm not going to see it because of slavery. I'm not going to see it because of this. Okay, that is your choice. Absolutely. But just know what that choice is going to cost. Just like it cost us something, it We had to take a risk in the weight training and in the sprinting. And, you know, like I said, I'm the OG warrior. I was 56 when I did this, okay? So, yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, y'all clapping now. You better be glad I'm sitting here and I'm alive. But we talk about the risks that we're taking now that we're passing the baton on to you. Because let me tell you something, we are not in the business of just creating images and messages that are beautiful. Human beings are messy. They are a quagmire of both beauty, messiness, rage, all of it. Hardness, mixed with softness, it's all of that. You gotta plug in so that we can create those diverse stories. Otherwise, it's like, you know, it's like I read something online, because now I gotta read things now that I'm a producer, which is cringeworthy. But I read something saying, you know, why are dark-skinned black women always hard and fighting in movies? And I'm thinking, we've been fighting in movies? What have we been doing in movies? What movie you talking about? You talking about Black Panther? Because that's the only one, okay? I want to see them as more romantic leads. Well, hell, I do too. You know, and I have for my 33-year career. What I'm going to say is you have to do the job. The opening weekend, this movie has to make money, or else this conversation is null and void. That is the truth.
Come on, we can do it. I actually think when the trailer dropped, I literally tweeted, "Black women fighting colonizers throws money at screen." Like, with the gift of the money being thrown, like, for real, you know? So I think that's so important. I know we have to close out soon, but I would love to just give a moment for each of you to talk about, you know, what, I think you just nailed the, you know, the point home, but just a last thought of what you want this movie to represent, what you want the conversations and the things you want to see, not just with this movie, but what this movie will start, the spark that it is for so much of the art like this and the stories that are being told. I'd love to give all of you time to just give a quick last thought.
I mean, being reflective, especially watching this as a man, one thing that is highlighted in this movie is the collaboration between men and women. Yeah.
Really important.
Sometimes we're always talking about the differences, but we never fixate on the similarities. And I sometimes think when we sometimes put some attention onto what makes us similar and we start to try and relate a lot more, it creates the playing field for the conversations not to be spicy, you know, not to go wrong and not to rob us of learning about each other. Because, you know, as a man, you know how we are. I'm looking this way. I see this. And as a woman, sometimes you're going to come in and give us the perspective. And you see how that reciprocal energy, how that collaboration works in the society here in Dahomey and in this movie. And for me, I hope that, you know, people start to think about that we need each other in this. Oh, yeah, and come see it in opening weekend. Just to, yeah, go do it. But we need each other, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I really hope that in watching this film and in just knowing that this project exists, that people feel emboldened to take risks. You know, everything that Viola just spoke about, being a producer of a film and being with it from its inception and trying to get it off the ground and that fight, that's absolutely true. It's extremely difficult, but I hope that by seeing that it was possible, people, you know, come out of the shadows and decide that they also want to take charge of their own endeavors. You know, they feel that they can have the confidence to, you know, engage in that fight. It's a shame that that fight exists, but we have to embark on it in order to take up the space that we're all talking about. So I really hope that, you know, the people who thought that it wasn't possible and maybe wrote themselves out of, you know, the story of their own lives and of this society, write themselves back in.
Love that.
Thuso, what's your thought?
pay attention to what Thuso is doing, yeah? Just pay attention. I would like, amongst many other things, for people to not see this as a moment in cinema history or as a singular moment. I feel like with quote-unquote black movies, there's that happened that year, they've had their one, fantastic. Now we can move back on to what we're used to, you know, the blueprint that has always been. We now have a new blueprint. This is it, you're seeing it, The Women King. We've never done it before, and it's not a moment. And actually, maybe it's not even a movement, it just is. This is the industry. This is what the industry can look like. So I would like the industry, the world, to just get used to it, get used to seeing this. You know, get your box office weekend and say, even no matter the reason, whether it is about money, okay, if you want to look at it as money, then cool, it sells. Go on, sell another one. Next year and the year after, do 2 a year, 3 a year. Do as much as you can. And it doesn't have to be all black people in front of the camera, behind the camera. We need to pay attention. It's not easy to go into makeup and say, so can I have my natural hair, please? And they say, no, I need her hair to be straight. I don't want to have that conversation. So I just hope that this is forward movement for everyone, not just the industry, for the world. Thuso, I'm so interested in what you're going to say.
So excited. to hear what
Thuso.
you're going to say, Thuso. This should be so inspirational.
So for me, I think we had the Essence shoot on the 8th of July this year.
The cover.
Yeah,
The cover.
The cover.
Did you lot see that cover?
And I remember the day because it was my birthday. Oh, but like, so on the day we had this round table discussion was Sheila, Lashana, myself, Viola, and Adrian. And in that discussion, something that I hadn't realized before came to the forefront for me. And I guess it's because it's, you know, so ingrained in me, and I'm sure other people as well, is that I've lived most of my life apologizing for existing. And so this film has shifted something in me where I realized that that's not okay, and I cannot go forward being in that state of being whatever. And so I hope that's what people take away from this. And there's a line that, what's your name? I'm joking!
Go on.
That King Gator says in the movie. That he says in the movie, and I said it to him yesterday, where he says, do not mistake my admiration for weakness. Yes, I remember. And that is something that I hope people can take from this. Because as black people, and I speak, you know, can't speak for everyone, but within the African continent, we're very respectful. You know, we give you your space, we let you do what you need to do. And that respect is always mistaken for weakness. And now we're saying, nah, it's not that. Don't get it twisted. Yeah.
Any last words you want to leave? I feel like you've done about 3 or 4 mic drops already, but any last words or thoughts?
Well, the only thing I will say that in life, anybody would do anything to fit in. Okay? I know a lot of you have different jobs, you have different careers. You'll do anything to get to the top, including selling your voice. Now, we're in a profession where we have a 95% unemployment rate, okay? 1% of actors make $50,000 a year or less. Maybe less than 5% make enough to get Plan 1 health insurance, which is $25,000 a year. 0.04% of actors are famous. So what happens in our profession is you will go in the room, even if you are considered to be on the periphery, you'll do anything to get a movie sold because you don't want to be that 95%, okay? Now, what I want people to take from this movie is that your inner voice belonging to yourself is your warrior fuel. That is your soul. That is the fight. The fight is you're going to take the risk. You may walk in the room. You may get rejected again and again and again and again and again and again. Okay? You may. But that one time you win is going to be worth it if it's connected to that voice inside of you that's untouched by everything else in the world. It just belongs to you. That's the only way we're going to change. Because my biggest problem with our profession, I'm going to just say it. I get angry that a lot of people don't want to just sit with us for 2 hours and 6 minutes in a movie theater. Put on a pretty dress, beat your face, make sure you're lighter than a paper bag. If you're gonna be a love interest, that's a big one. No one wants to talk about colorism,
yes, it
even
is.
in our profession.
Yes, it is.
Even within our culture. Yep. All right? And it continues and it continues and it continues and it continues. And a lot of it is driven by people who look like us. I want people to use their warrior fuel. That's what I want them to do. I want them to be brave, because the line that sticks out to me is when I tell Nawi, I am sorry I left you behind. I wasn't brave enough. 6-year-old Viola, who grew up in Central Falls, Rhode Island, who was called nigga, 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 an ugly black nigga every single day, and I didn't have anyone to say that you're not that. So guess what? My feet stopped moving, but I kept running. I'm encouraging all people to stop running. You don't leave little Viola behind. Don't leave little Thuso and Lashana and Sheila behind. Uplift your people.
And is there anything else to be said? Like what? Come on. Incredible. Thank you. I'm emotional. I'm trying to gather myself. It's amazing. Well, just to the incredible cast, thank you so much, not only for being here today, but for your art, for your drive, for your passion, for what you have done and gifted us with. This beautiful film I think will inspire so many of us to do exactly what you just said. Never leave anyone behind, and know that we can see ourselves. So thank you all so much. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you to the crowd who was live.
Thank you.
Yes. Make sure to tweet with the hashtag Take Up Space. I'll be on the Twitter streets as soon as I'm off stage. So thank you again, everybody. Have a great one. Yes. We're going to do one photo? Okay. The hashtag. Go see the movie.
Yeah. Bro. Okay. We're being